All right. Welcome back to the GSL Code A. We've got a Protoss versus Terran starting to the top left in the red for the team MVP. Can't come out in the day because he is the MVP Vampire.
And here we have him, a player that lost in the second round of the last GSL Code A against Suo Shin, a match that he will probably remember for the rest of his life. Defeated himself. And he's starting against an opponent starting to the bottom right. In the blue, we have a Casper player. This is Ssak. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Well, it's probably Ssak, considering that in the Korean there's actually something people don't know about the Korean language. You cannot compare Korean characters to English characters. It's really hard to Romanize things because if you said this in English, yeah, you would probably say Ssak, but you have to say Ssak because there's no, you have to say the ak sound, which is probably how I pronounce the name. I don't know this player's ID that well. I've never heard anyone speak it.
Ssak is probably the right way to pronounce it.
Not to be confused with Zaka, the German player who people say is Sock, but it's not correct.
Yeah,
it means sock, but
it's pronounced Zocke.
Yeah.
And well, right now the thing that we of course know about Ssak is that he's one of the players who was able to make it through the Code A qualifier. Currently we have him here at the bottom right. He was taking, well, he actually won against another Terran in the final of his Code A qualifier bracket against Kop, the player who took down Sase with a 2-1. And he also took down SC, so he seems to be really strong against Terran players in general. But one thing to note is that Ssak actually did not have to play a single Protoss player. Yep. Vampire, on the other hand, he had to face quite a few Terrans in his up and down matches. He had to face Happy and Supernova. Both matches, the last two at least, didn't really end in his favor. One of the reasons why he finds himself in the first round of Code A and not in Code S.
So, Ssak has played a lot of Brood War games, about 70 recorded matches in total. I checked to see like how many games he played exactly. He's played about 70 in Brood War, so nerves are not going to be an issue for him, but this is going to be his first broadcasted StarCraft 2 match, the first match that's ever been recorded live, so we'll see how that affects him.
And you know what, we have just the build orders on this huge map unfolding. One thing that I want to come back to is that you actually said about the Korean letters and that how you pronounce things and how they sometimes bounce off name into English then back in Korean and all this. It's actually really funny. We have a cafe that opened up just a few days ago nearby the studio. And you know what a frappe is?
Yeah.
Okay, so frappe is basically, you can just say it's like an iced coffee, something like this.
Yeah.
And it's called and, well, also spelled frappe with an F. Koreans don't have an F sound, so they usually use the P. So if you just read it in Korean, it's spelled like frappe. And this cafe was just newly opened up, so they have a lot of these. And they just wrote down everything in Korean, and if you just look at the menu, you have everything written in Korean and of course also in English. And they did not use the original English word. Apparently they didn't know it, so they tried to translate the Korean into English, and so they have a huge list with 10 frappes. Which is really, really cool. If you see it and you look at it, you don't understand it, and then you start translating it from English and Korean and back, and then like, okay.
This happens sometimes from time to time, man. Well, I have to say that every cafe in Korea is either part of a chain or it's called Namu. So like basically the non-chain cafes are actually part of the Namu chain, which is not really a chain. Namu means tree, by the way, in Korean. But you'll notice, I dare you to find a cafe that's not a chain in Korea that's not called Namu, because I haven't found one yet.
I will look up the name, but I just thought it was funny when I looked at the menu. First I didn't understand it, and then I realized what was going on, and I was like,
Both of these players are actually just taking big risks right now. Ssak has taken his third command center. He's got a bunker up just to be safe, but it's still fairly risky to do what he's doing right now. And Vampire actually poised at the third Nexus location, decided not to do it. He's actually playing a more normal game here as he is going Robo before the extra gates because he knows he doesn't need the gates right away on a big map like this.
And, well, one of the things, of course, is that this is a huge map, and therefore you can get away with things like this. We have Vampire taking out the scout here. And one thing that I want to mention is that that Sakk's coach, of course, is Boxer.
Yes.
He's been at the studio earlier, and well, he definitely coached his play. He knows all these StarCraft 2 players. He knows the strategy, so he knows what to watch out for, what to prepare for. So a really huge advantage for Ssak in this match.
And I have to say, seeing Boxer in the studio as a coach, just the way he presented himself, he seems so happy. And not to say he wasn't happy as a player, but it looks like he's really accepted his role as a coach now, and I'm happy for him because I think that he's got so much expertise. He's got a great amount of experience he can really use to make the SK Telecom players some of the best players in the world. This observer flies in, no scans available. He probably spotted it, but not much he can do about it with no scans. Gases are spotted here as well, and he's going to see basically all the timings, and most importantly, we'll see the E-Bays and that fast third command center. Knowing this means that he's not going to face any medevac pressure early on, and then will probably actually respond by taking his third nexus.
I think he's trying to chase down the observer now, and at this point Vampire is just trying to get out.
Yeah, he's like, well, no scans, I guess I gotta let it go.
But when you talked about Boxer, I actually talked to him a little bit at the Code A qualifier, and we just talked about the tournament itself, and of course also about the upcoming things in StarCraft 2, which is of course part of the Swarm. And he's really looking forward to it. He didn't really play the add-on just yet, but he's looking forward to playing it, and actually he might actually start a comeback. He didn't know yet. He was like, well, gonna check it out and then we'll see. So he's not sure about it yet, but it would be great to have him back as a player. But at this point, of course, him as a coach, as you already said, he is really playing a huge part in the preparations for his team, and Ssak will definitely benefit not only from his experience but also of his knowledge in StarCraft 2 and of the StarCraft 2 player scene.
Yeah, you're so right, and I would love to even see Boxer, even if he doesn't become a full-time player, because that would probably be impossible as a coach with, how his contract's up, to play a show match or something while Heart of the Storm is still new. That would be cool to see.
Also very important here while talking about the preparations is that Ssak basically didn't have any games played so far in StarCraft 2 except for the qualifier. And of course the replays to the qualifier are not accessible to Vampire. On the other hand, Vampire had to face quite a few Terran players in the up and down matches and also in the last season, so Ssak can actually look at all these VODs and can try to analyze the style of his opponent, which gives him a fair advantage here. So that's one of the things that has to be considered here. But at this point in time, we have both of them, just with 3 bases. The economy right now, a huge advantage for Ssak actually, with 57 to 47 harvesters and the 3 mules in addition.
Yeah, but he's had that command center for so long. The observer took so long to fly across the map, and before he saw the third command center, Vampire didn't feel comfortable taking that third nexus. And Vampire actually just made, at the same time, a Templar Archives and a robotics support bay, which has this is probably like the only time it's ever happened where someone made both of those structures at the same time. But he's starting, his second forge is starting to get armor, but his opponent already has 1-1 against just +1 armor, and he takes out this observer. This is a moment where Ssak can try to be a little bit aggressive with the first few medevacs coming out. Notice also he's making 3 medevacs at a time. That means he has a second starport, so he is already prepared for those Colossi, even starts +1 ship weapons. And Vampire has not started Storm. If I'm not mistaken, he did get, he got an Archon out, so he made 2 Templar to make an Archon, so he's kind of got this weird unit composition right now, which is fine, considering that this map is so big and Sakk's not going to be attacking him directly, but he is going to need to start getting those extra upgrades out. He's starting +1 now for his weapons, he's getting charge, and he's going to need to start Storm pretty soon. Yeah,
and +1 is really needed. As you already said, we have the double engineering bay research for Ssak going on, and he has those 1-1 upgrades, whereas heading on 2-2 an advantage in upgrades in general. And currently we see him also with Concussive Shell, with Combat Shields, all these upgrades, just trying to man up for a huge attack. And Vampire is definitely a little bit pressed here. Without Storm, does he actually have external thermal lens for his Colossi already? I'm not quite sure if he already completed it.
I don't think so, but I will verify that actually. No, he does not. He has not started it either. So I think he's just gonna, there's Storm. He's just gonna go with the Storm a little bit later.
And here we have him now with Storm Tech, as Wolf mentioned. The second Colossus is being built, and also at the left side of the map, the pylon just taken down, which of course revealed the drop intention of Ssak just in general, and gives Vampire the opportunity of position a High Templar there for the feedback, Stalker as well. Right now, the Terran actually with a huge lead in supply.
Yeah, and this is what happens if your opponent gets a faster third up than you, and you just let it go and you just take your third and you don't attack. And on a map like this, it's hard to attack. So Ssak really playing the map's strengths here by taking that risky third base. And now Vampire it's really showing. He's about 30 supply down right now. His worker count has caught up a little bit, but with mules, that's not going to be too significant.
He starts the +3 attack upgrade, the Vampire that is, and also +2 attack. sorry, +3 armor and +2 attack. But the thing is, he needs a couple of High Templars if he really wants to make use of the Storm.
Absolutely, he really does, because if Ssak actually catches him out of position, he's got the Viking count to take out those Colossi. He can do so much damage here.
Yeah, and the Kadarin Amulet is gone, therefore an instant Storm is not possible for a newly warped High Templar, so he really needs them to build up the energy to use this upgrade. Storm is done, but there are no High Templars on the map just yet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He has not a single one.
He doesn't have anything actually to deal with his army.
This actually, the Stalker's blinking in an awkward position, and yeah, he's got some charged zealots here, but the Colossi fall like flies.
There are only 2 and they don't have extended thermal lance, and just look at the supply dropping here for Vampire. Ssak is just going through the army of his opponent. Only the Immortals keep Vampire in this game.
That's absolutely right. The Immortals actually were the big damage dealers in that fight, and here come the reinforcements. He just has too much healing here. There's no AoE. The Immortals do retreat, and he decides to fall back. One thing to note is that +3 armor started a little bit late for Ssak. He needed to get that out just a little bit faster. Meanwhile, he is starting another command center, finally deciding, okay, well, I've traded well here. There's no way he's going to be able to punish me. And, you know, upgrade-wise, Vampire is catching up, but he's never going to be able to really keep up with the army size of Ssak if he doesn't win a crucial battle, because as long as Ssak doesn't make any mistakes with his macro, I mean, how can he catch up?
And Wolf, he needs some area of effect damage. Vampire, that is. He cannot rely on a purely Immortal and gateway
and he still didn't add any Templar in, not even a single one. He's got the Archon here. That's the only area of effect he has.
What helps Vampire a little bit is that Ssak has a lot of Vikings, whereas there are no Colossi, so that's dead supply.
Yeah.
But in the end, you want to have some Colossi or some High Templar. Finally, the High Templar with the Storm.
Yeah, these are the first ones he's going to try to use Storms with. He's actually making 5 now, which is smart, but it's as if Vampire was too scared. He was like, well, if he attacks me now, I'm not going to have the energy for Storm, but now he feels comfortable getting those Templar out, but actually Ssak is moving in. A little bit patient here. If he gets all the energy on those Storms, all the High Templar he has is going to be really strong. Going for a drop. There's only one Ghost on the map as well. That's something to think about here.
And now he's moving in at the third base, is taking this down immediately. The Storms are not ready just yet. He doesn't have the energy. The High Templars actually up at the front, and they are being moved in Archons as he realized that they're too exposed. Now the Immortals are the next target for the Terran player, and Ssak is just rolling Vampire now.
And the first Storms land here, but it's not a good trade. Most of those units were almost already dead anyways. Now he's going to be able to take out this Archon, and as soon as the rest of the Zealots come in, he may have to retreat. A second wave of units actually gets hit by this cannon. So he's going to move back, but now he takes a 50 supply lead. Vampire still no 4th base. Not even started. He's got a probe hanging out like he may make one. He's getting these upgrades. He's getting plasma shields and +3 attack, but it's now 3-3 completing for Ssak, who's just trading so well time and time again.
The Storms were really necessary for Vampire, but the Storms were a little bit too late because the High Templars just didn't have the energy yet.
And that's why, you know, in one way it's like, all right, well, I see why he didn't warp in those Templar before, because he was afraid the same situation would happen just a little bit earlier and he wouldn't have the energy. But if you don't warp them in earlier, then when the attack comes later, you still don't have the energy that you need. And he just barely did not. That's why we saw those Templar all the way at the front, because he was just like 2 seconds away from having it. And
now we have +3 nearly done for Ssak, who is 60 supply ahead of his opponent, is taking his 4th base. We have him with additional bio units. And I think, yeah, he even has 2 Ghosts now in his army composition, whereas the only thing that Vampire can really safely rely on are these 6 High Templars that he has. And the next attack, if Ssak is actually microing well and able to dodge these Storms or take on the High Templars, he has a great position here. But can he do it?
That's going to be so tough. A Storm hits and he actually walks into it. And that was a decent Storm action for Vampire. And these Storms are good as well. This is exactly what Vampire needs right now. He's still down 70 supply. But if he can take this army out, just maybe he can hold his 4th. All these units so low on hit points right now.
Exactly, with all those stims and with the Storms, the units are really low on hit points as we speak. Those Zealots were tempted to charge in, but Vampire moves back, tries to buy himself a little bit more time. He wants this +3 attack upgrade being done too, and has now additional High Templars. He really wants to have the area of effect spells ready.
And I like the choice to go for a big drop here, because he knows, okay, yeah, Vampire's got this strong army together, but it's not very big, so if I actually send units to his main base or his natural, how is he going to be able to defend? He doesn't have enough units, I know that, and I'm just going to wait in the middle of the map for my units to heal, pull him back into his main base, then I can attack his 3rd or his 4th base on my main ground army. Great multitasking here by Ssak. forcing a warping of Zealots, and he's not going to kill much here, but he's forcing the Protoss back, and now he's going to catch these Templar.
Oh, well made by Vampire. He realizes, oh god, my Templars, they are dead, but he's still able to get the storms off, and they were really important.
That's, that's just Templar in the middle of the map. Getting storms off is a rare occurrence, and Vampire is actually starting to close the supply gap a little bit here.
He's trying to fight his way back here. He was definitely far behind his opponent, but now with all these storms, he's able to take down Ssak's hit points. And is Ssak actually able to finally end this game and put Vampire into a position he can't escape from? He's trying to move in, but Vampire playing this really cautious right now, moves back once again and just tries to put Ssak in a position where he can make full use of his storms, and here they are.
Yeah, here they are. He's trying to use the terrain against Ssak, but Ssak is doing the same. A great storm flank there. That was exactly what he needed, and now he's going to push this back, and EMP actually hits his own medevac. He misses the Immortal there. Shockers blink in, and Vampire's going to take a supply. This fourth base color is the big story. Ssak never touched it. It was just left to be on the left side of the map.
And just look at those medivacs that you talked about. They're out of energy because of the EMP. A huge mistake by Ssak. He lost the battle of the casters. He was not able to take down those High Templars with the ghosts that he had, and even the EMP was not useful to him.
Yeah,
actually, the opposite.
If Ssak actually had a forward pylon right now, he may be, or rather, if Vampire had a forward pylon, he may just be able to end this game. He's ripping through these ghosts now, and the Bioforce is just stimming and running. Even Immortals in the mix, the medevacs are falling. And forward pylon or not, man, Vampire with that great storm may actually just be able to take this game.
And Ssak does not have the production. He still has 2,000 minerals and gas, but he can't use it. He does not have enough production facilities to make this happen. And Vampire, he is using this mistake by his opponent, is moving in and storming the economy, the SCV storm, and GG.
Wow.
What a game.
Yeah, it's all about the flanks from the storms and also that fourth base, and the EMP problem was a big one for Ssak as well, but if he didn't have that fourth base, he wouldn't have even been able to produce those Templar in the first place. I feel Sak's map awareness of the left side of the map was not as good as his map awareness on the right side. He constantly had SCVs and Marines checking the right side for a fourth base. He sent medevacs around there, but he never really went to the fourth base on the left side, and had he gone over there, he may have been able to just drop it and kill it. There was not a lot of defense set up there, and that was a mistake, I feel.
You know, if I would have actually, I feel going into game number 2 that Ssak is very, very good apparently in how he controls the early and the mid game. But in the late game, it seems to be a little bit too much for him right now.
Yeah, and his builder choices were just better as well. He took the better builds on a big map.
He had all these resources that he could never use, and you could just see that he was not really comfortable with this huge amount of macro that he needs at this point in time, with the additional barracks that he needs to build in order to get rid of his entire economy. He had so many resources that he just could not use, and also when it comes down to sniping ghosts, High Templars of course, with his ghosts, something that he never really did do. So Ssak with a very good early game, Vampire maybe lacking a little bit the opportunity of taking on his opponent's Bioforces, but a really interesting game here, and Vampire with a nice comeback into this match after being down 70 supply.
A very rare occurrence. I was exactly going to say, a very rare occurrence to see a player come back with 70 supply in StarCraft 2, especially in this matchup. And it just goes to show that sometimes big maps, although I don't like maps of that size necessarily, but big maps can allow comebacks, and that was a crazy game we just saw. Game number 2, of course, will be on Cloud Kingdom. It's loading up right now. Vampire just needs one more win, and he will knock the SK Telecom player back into Code B. Maybe Ssak can tie things up here, though. Map is loaded. Let's intro the players.